Hey guys, I'm Michael Truly here for CineFix. I'm here today to tell you if The Interview is worth your $6. Full disclosure, I watched this sober, but a good comedy is a good comedy. It should only get better with a little substance abuse. Right up front, I think this movie is absolutely worth your $6. I wrung plenty of laughs out of it, at least $6 worth. It's a very silly movie. It's not as dangerous as you may feel it is based on all of the surrounding sort of media hubbub. I enjoyed the movie. I laughed at it. There were some parts that I genuinely thought were quite good. That being said, I did have some issues with it. I feel like this could have been a really smart comedy, but they made a number of terrible choices. One, there's so many montages in this movie and mini montages. It's ridiculous. Two, so much butt and butthole humor. Look, I love a good butthole joke as much as the next fellow. I didn't know I had a limit on butthole jokes, but about an hour in, I was like, okay, let's cool it with the butthole jokes, guys. The movie suffers from some pacing issues which probably could have been solved by somebody with more experience at the helm. Obviously, this was a big swing for Rogen and Goldberg. And ultimately, it feels like it kind of missed the mark. It also feels like it could have used some tighter editing. Some of the jokes linger for far too long. I'm looking at you, Eminem cameo. The movie feels like it would have been exponentially better if it had had a shorter runtime. That being said, there were some great comedic performances in here. Randall Park is great as Kim Jong Un. I really hope to see him in more things in the future. He's really fantastic and sort of does a really nice comedic flip-flop between the two sides of Kim Jong Un that we see in this movie. Also, Diana Bang is fantastic in this, and both of them get a real chance to show off their comedic chops. It's not just Rogen and Franco's show here. I really enjoyed Seth Rogen in this as well. He was pretty good as the straight man. Sort of generous considering Seth Rogen, but when you put him next to James Franco vamping his way around like he's a clown at a 5-year-old's birthday party, and the kids just won't sit still, so he keeps trying harder and harder. I don't know if he was worried that the material wouldn't be funny or if he was worried that it was too thinky and so he had to be sillier and sillier. Ultimately, he's a real detriment to this movie. Everybody else, I think, in it is pretty fantastic. Lizzie Kaplan and Diana Bang both feel like fully fleshed out female characters. That is one thing that Rogen and Goldberg do really well, is that their female characters ultimately never end up feeling quite as shallow as they do in some other movies, and especially some other comedies. I don't want to ruin any of the jokes here. There's certainly a lot of them, but I just keep talking about buttholes. Like, this whole movie is buttholes, you guys. Like, I don't even know what to do with it. There's so many butthole jokes. There are so many. Like, I keep wanting to like talk about specific jokes, but then I'm like, nope, there's a butthole joke right in the middle of that. It's like they've just discovered that the butthole is funny and that you can put things in the butthole and that you can do things to the butthole and that just saying butthole is funny. We're already past that, guys. Like, we're on to pee holes. Where's all the jokes about pee holes? The Interview. Underneath it all, it seemed like The Interview really had something to say or really wanted to say something. I'm probably giving it too much credit, but there are little touches here and there that show that Rogen and Goldberg really done their homework and put some thought into this, but kind of like an amateur painter, they didn't know when to leave the canvas behind, and so any message or any thought that they were saying was just, you know, painted over with butthole jokes. So it's kind of like the Mona Lisa, like they've painted the Mona Lisa and then they drew a big anus in the middle of it. Ultimately, I think The Interview is going to be remembered as a footnote on the Sony hack, a movie that was never quite as dangerous or exciting as it actually was in execution. I know I've sort of bagged on The Interview here, but that's only because I was expecting so much from it. I was really excited about the potential for a movie like this. And ultimately, this movie is funny. It's certainly better than Let's Be Cops. It's certainly not the worst comedy of the year. It's also not the best, but clearly worth your $6. Far more weird and possibly more interesting is Vice Media's YouTube documentaries on their visit to North Korea, which were clearly an influence on the filmmakers. Check those out, they're really fascinating. There's a couple different parts, they're cool. I'm probably gonna watch The Interview drunk to see if James Franco's performance gets better or bigger. If I have any thoughts or additions to this review, I'll put them up on Twitter. You can follow me at Michael_Truly. Otherwise, subscribe to CineFix for more movie news and movie reviews, and we'll see you next year. Happy holidays, you guys.